Hi, fans of high quality entertainment. Today I thought I would do a video on my top 10. No, take two. Hi, fans of high quality entertainment. Today I thought I would show you my top 50 favorite album covers of all time. And when I did this list, I wanted to make sure that I actually own all of these albums. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds and thousands of great album covers. So there might be a few missing that you love that just aren't in my top 50 list. So please understand that. So here we go. And these are not in any particular order, although the final 10 are in order. They're my favorite 10 album covers. So starting with Grand Funk, their second album from 1970, I believe. It's called the Red Album, and it's just so cool. I love how Mel Shocker is kind of standing out because it's his bass that really drives this album. It's so in your face. The Who's Next? What I love about this is just the band photo. There's no text of the Who or Who's Next on it. And I read later, I didn't know this at the time, but the clouds, the background clouds were just kind of pasted in. I guess it was just a plain, there were no clouds or anything on the original shot. And one of them could not urinate. I forget which one, but so they had to just pour some water down, I guess. But yeah, that is a classic album cover for a classic album. Not sure if you've seen this album cover before. And, because it's such a iconic album cover, it's one of the most famous album covers ever. You kind of think, is it really in my top 50? But, because when the album came out in 1973, it was certainly unique. And so, yeah, it has to be. I guess maybe the one drawback for me is I'm colorblind with red and green. I'm actually doing a video on my ASMR channel today. I'm going to do another um, colorblind test. So check that out. Yeah, back in the day, in the early '70s, I bought Kiss's debut album, and I still love it today. I actually have it. It's the only Kiss album I have. But back in the day, I remember buying this, and I love that cover. It's so cool. It's just really see. I'm kind of remembering back buying it, and it came two double album set, and it came with a booklet and everything. And it's just good memories. Yeah. Now this one is even better than their cover for Love Beach. Emerson, Lake and Palmer, brain salad surgery. Even the name itself is so cool. And and of course, this is the unedited cover, which kind of shows something. I don't know if you can see it or not, but we'll move on. This is just, I remember buying this album and thinking at the time, kind of being a little leery of hearing it because, I'd read about the Sex Pistols and I hadn't really heard that much punk music. And so I loved this right away. And the album cover just stands out. So I had to include it. It's excellent. I remember seeing this in the record stores in the 60s, and I just loved their humor, in the back, of course, too, with Keith and John. And supposedly Roger Daltrey got sick later that day because those beans were pretty cold. Yeah, Pink Floyd, Uma Guma. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. Uh, it is just, because the picture repeats, it's just really, really cool. I'm going to say cool a lot in this video. But I think the album covers I love the most either have humor in them or they're completely bizarre. And I don't think I included Captain Beefheart's Trout Mask replica. Maybe I did, but I'm just trying to remember that. I don't think I did. But, something like that, something that's really weird, I also love, or something that's just cool to look at, like this album cover. Yeah, the Rascals, Once Upon a Dream. Yeah, the album cover was sculptured by Dino Danelli, the drummer for the Rascals. And I've always thought that was pretty original. I like the guy with the house on top of his head. I had to include at least one Yes album and the magnificent artwork of Roger Dean. I think this would be my favorite of all the Yes album covers. Tales from Topographic Oceans, and probably my favorite Yes album. Santana 3. I would love when a band would just choose artwork that was really cool. And yeah, that's a, that is, I would love to have that as a poster, the whole with the gatefold. Great album, too. Yay, it Sparks. You're going to see them a few times. Yeah, Womp That Sucker. Uh, and they actually did, I think they did 3 rounds of boxing. And from what I might have read it wrong, but I think Russell broke one of Ron's ribs. They were actually fighting, but yeah, I mean not too seriously, just to promote the album in a film. But it looks like Ron knocked out Russell. Once again, really stands out like the Sex Pistols album cover. Question, are we not men? Answer, we are Devo. I think at the time I didn't like it, it was stupid or whatever, but it's Devo. Yep, lots of David Bowie album covers. I know most people would pick maybe Ziggy Stardust, but I think this is my favorite of his, Scary Monsters and Super Creeps, because it is creepy. And once again, with Roger Dean, he did Magician's Birthday for Uriah Heep and also Demons and Wizards. I think this is my favorite. It's also my favorite Uriah Heep album. Very cool. Once again, Sparks, Indiscreet. And I love how they're being very indiscreet with the plane crashing in a neighborhood. Looks like Russell hurt his leg. Of course, there's some Beatle album covers, and yeah, this is definitely a classic. It would have even been cooler uh, if it didn't have the text, but one of the most iconic Beatles pictures. And this was, of course, a parody of Elvis Presley's first album, The Clash, London Calling. Just an excellent shot of the bassist. Where's that Joe Strummer? I think that's Paul Simon, however you pronounce his last name. Yeah, Simon. I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Somebody will correct me though. That hurts the eyes, but it's very eye-catchy. Elvis Costello, My Aim is True, one of the greatest debut albums ever. I love the way he has his feet. Yeah, Savoy Brown, Street Corner Talking. I love cartoon-based album covers like that. Great album too, and it continues on the other side too, which is cool. Of course, Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run, another iconic album cover with Clarence Clemens. Had to think for a second with Clarence Clemens on the back. I remember seeing this. It took me years and years to actually hear the album, and it's really good. This was it the third Deep Purple album? And the artwork is by, yeah, Hieronymus Bosch, The Garden of Earthly Delights. And that's if I said his name properly. Somebody will correct me if I didn't. Led Zeppelin. Uh, yeah. The Brown Bomber is what it's also known as. And I think when this came out, I was a little confused because obviously, that's an old picture from like World War II. And then I would see the band members in it. And, at the time, I didn't know about, them pasting their faces onto the original picture. So I was just a bit confused at the time. Led Zeppelin was in World War II or World War One. Yes, Genesis Live. The only thing that sucks about this album cover is it's a picture from them doing Supper's Ready, which isn't even on the album. I wish that had been released as a double album. Lots of very cool Black Sabbath album covers, and this is probably my favorite. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, and then I love the back cover too, which is more heavenly. Once again, Kiss. I remember, I think as soon as it came out, I bought it, having no idea what I was gonna hear, but I loved it right away, and it was very, uh, they're so it's so normal now, right, to see Kiss and the makeup and all that, but back in the day, it was very strange. Klaatu, just Glenn Kellaway from the Basement's favorite album cover, favorite band. Yeah, just a very pleasing album cover. Makes you happy looking at it. I think there's one or two more Blue Oyster Cult album covers. Spectres, when it came out, I've always loved that album cover. A little on the creepy side. I love the cat in the background too. And once again, it brings back memories of seeing this in the record store. I'd never heard AC/DC before, and I remember bringing it up to the counter, and even the record store owner had said, "Oh, have you heard them?" Because she hadn't heard them yet, and I loved it right away. It's my favorite AC/DC album. But you can tell just from the album cover, there's not going to be too many ballads on the album. Yep, once again, Blue Oyster Cult. The artist did the first and second album covers. There's something about, I'd have to read up on it again, but something about this artist. They don't know what happened to him. Like he just disappeared. There it is. I wasn't sure if I included it. Yeah, Trout Mask Replica. And I didn't know this because I don't know my fish that well, but I guess that isn't even a trout. It's some other kind of fish. Would that be a carp? You fish experts out there, maybe it's a carp. But supposedly that mask, believe it or not, it didn't smell very good. Yeah, I don't even think I really noticed the light bulb at the top of his hat before. Once again, a very well known album cover, Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here. Oh, talking about fire again. It's Deep Purple Burn. I always love that album cover. Yeah. Nazareth, close enough for rock and roll. I just thought that was very unique. Fans looking in on the band, and then the band, when on the gatefold, you see the band inside the limousine. Revolver with the great Klaus Vormann. And I don't think when this came out, I really did not appreciate this album cover like others did for many years. I don't, it just took me, until the last few years to really respect the art and how unique it was. And I love, the Beatles' real eyes in the drawings of each of the Beatles. It's really, and in case you don't know, the deluxe version of Revolver's coming out October 28th. Write that down. No, so this would I've seen this on the worst album covers list. This is XTC and Go To. That's what it was called. And I just think it is such a original album cover. It's just explaining that it's the record cover. I won't read it all, but just pause the video if you want to read it. It's this is a record cover. This writing is the design upon the record cover. Once again, Sparks, Propaganda, and originally it once again didn't have the band's name on the cover. I think later on they put Sparks Propaganda in the right-hand corner, top right-hand corner. But there's a whole theme on the back. They're being kidnapped, and the sleeve. They're in bed, all tied up, and it's almost like a mini movie, I guess. What I've read. It's like, what's going on here? Yeah. The Blue Oyster Cult. Tyranny, Amutation. One of those album covers that kind of hurts to look at, but it's certainly eye-catching. Yes, Abbey Road. Probably the most. I think I think Sergeant Pepper is the most famous, but I guess Abbey Road is in the top five at least. And it is, the perspective of it with the blue sky and the trees and the road. It's very good photography. Yeah, I've always loved this album cover. Every good boy deserves favor. The Moody Blues, I could have put most most of the Moody Blues album covers on this list. A lot of them are excellent, but this is my favorite. Here we go. Here's the top 10 in order. So, number 10 would be, yeah, at first I had Get Your Ya-Ya's Out with Charlie Watts on the cover with the donkey. But I like this one even more. It's although the title "Let It Bleed" doesn't relate, of course, to the to the cake in any way. But I think this has even been on worst album cover lists. So everybody has an opinion. And this, once again, would be on some people's worst album covers list, but it isn't for me because the Beatles kind of started the art of album covers with Sgt. Pepper. And so they contrasted that with basically a nothing album cover. Although the embossed The Beatles was very original at the time, and then of course the number of the edition that you have. And the thing is too, the whole package, right? You get the gatefold with the pictures of the Beatles, the songs, and you get a big poster, and you get 4 separate pictures of each Beatle. So, the whole package. I mean, if it was just this, and I was thinking today too, with Abbey Road, they'd had inserts for Sergeant Pepper, the gatefold, Magical Mystery Tour had the booklet in it. And then when it came to Abbey Road, we didn't get anything. And I wonder why, in a way. It was just, not even a gatefold. The Beatles were getting cheap. At number 8, Kimono My House. Once again, Sparks. And no sign of the band on the cover, just a picture. And I believe the woman on the right, she did the background she did the vocals with David Bowie on It's No Game. Number 7, Frank Zappa, Hot Rats. Once again, kind of creepy, kind of bizarre. Kind of also reminds me of Black Sabbath's debut album with the woman's just standing there, kind of scary looking. Number 6 is, once again, Frank Zappa. He has so many great album covers. And I think this was from a commercial for a razor. And then he just got the, is that a chipmunk or? And changed it. And, I guess it's a weasel. Weasels ripped my flesh. Rrrz. Number 5. Yeah, my favorite Sparks album cover. I still remember when I saw this in the record store in 1982, and I laughed out loud in the record store. And I saw them in Toronto that year at the El Macombo. And for the encore, they came out as a bride and groom. Number 4. Yeah. Probably the greatest parody album cover ever. Frank Zappa, The Mothers of Invention. We're only in it for the money. And you can see Jimi Hendrix there, and he actually is there with the band. He was friends with Frank. And then his wife, Gail, I didn't realize that, is beside Frank, and she's pregnant with one of the children. I think it was maybe Dweezil. Number 3. Yeah. I think my favorite album covers usually are ones where there's no mention of the band on the cover. It's just a picture like this. And this is the stupidest album cover of all time. It's just a cow. But it's funny and very endearing for some strange reason. So number 2. Yeah, this could have pretty easily been number 1. And once again, when this came out in the early 70s, I would see it in the store. No mention of the band at all. Not even on the back cover, just maybe on the spine. And it wasn't until probably the 80s when I heard this. But the album itself is as great as this album cover. I wonder what number 1 is. I think you know. It is. Yeah. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I think in some ways it might even be underrated these days because it's so well known. It's been seen millions of times, but people don't understand that weren't around my age when this came out. What a shock it was to see that, and there's so much going on. And it's true. You'd be listening to the album and staring at the album cover, although and the whole package of it. So yeah, it is. I think it's the greatest album cover of all time. And that is it. So I would love your thoughts, and also maybe in the comment section below, list your 10 favorite album covers. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.